In this House of Logic video, we're going to provision Kubernetes using Terraform and Ansible on Proxmox. Now, to start off with, a brief overview of the environment. So I have here my Kubernetes environment, which is based on a single node, but we're going to basically stand this up using multiple VMs within the environment. It's worth mentioning at this point that I run Windows 10 and I use WSL for a lot of the config work, or rather I'm using it to access a staging machine, which is actually basically driving the configuration. And I'm referring to this one as the IAC staging machine, or as it's labelled here, the Terraform Master or IAC Master. And the reason for this is, as I was testing this out, I found that there were some limitations around WSL and file systems, and particularly around Ansible, which made it not work very well. The other thing to mention is, whilst you can see some LXC containers here, you might be tempted to try this with Kubernetes, but this is not something that I was able to get to work without it basically throwing up some errors around swap file management. So it's something I decided to avoid and to just simply go down the VM route. The other thing that's worth mentioning is that this video is based on driving Ubuntu using Cloud-Init as part of the setup process, and that's actually already separately documented somewhere else. So we're going to be using one of the templates down here as part of our setup process, and you can see a separate video on how to go about that, and I'll link to that one in the comments. So what I've done as well is I've set up all the config files that I'm going to need, and I'm running those in VS Code, or rather I'm accessing those in VS Code using the Remote Explorer. So what you're seeing here is the file system on the remote machine, and we've also got a terminal window that we'll be using because simply the text is a bit bigger, it's easier to read, and I want you to be able to see what's going on. Within the Terraform files, first thing that you need to see is we have a variables file, and within here we can either specify the username or password to access Proxmox. We do need the user SSH user and password as well for the VM, and then we're either going to use an API token or the username and password, which are then referenced in the main.tf file. So there are two types or two sections to the resources that we'll be configuring. One is for the master, which is referenced there as K8s, KT's master, if you will, and then we've also got the KT's node, Kubernetes node down there, and they're both going onto the same host. We're going to use VM 9000, and they're basically the same in terms of what we're going to run, and we need to put an SSH key into there. So what you need to do in order to get any of that going, the first thing is actually you need to generate a private and public key pair using SSH keygen. And let me get my terminal window up, and the command for that is SSH keygen, and then you can enter your email address. We're just going to use the dummy one, and we're going to go with the TF Cloud-Init name, and you want to generate it without a passphrase. So that's generated those files. Now I've used these commands, these file name throughout the commands that I've rather the scripts I've got set up here. So if you want to change it, you will have to change it in everything else. We're also, in advance of using Ansible, going to do chmod 400 to make sure that only this user, which is user at Ubuntu 2404, is able to access the file. So with that in place, what we then need to do is to start running Terraform. So within the repository, we're going to move into this Terraform directory over here, or rather, I say in the repository, in the set of files I have set up on here, which will form part of a repository I will be listing. Then you can do this. So you want to do Terraform Init first of all, which will download all the necessary providers, which you can see have just appeared in the file system there. And then what you want to do is you're going to want to do Terraform apply. However, before we do that, the mistake we will be making is that we haven't put the correct keys in place. So what you would need to do is you need to go and get hold of the, I believe it's the public key, and you can simply copy the entirety of the public key, go and find the lines within the SSH key section, and you want to paste those in. So that's one copy of it. I know I could define this as a variable, but I didn't explicitly so that you can actually see what's going on. as part of this. So that's now specified in both of those. If we hadn't done that, we would immediately be getting a failure on the Terraform apply. So we go back here, and now we can do Terraform apply. And hopefully that, once we type in yes, should start. It is going to take a few minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the recording. I'm going to let that run through, and then we're going to come back to it. Okay, so as you can see, the Terraform script has completed successfully, and it's actually giving us the IP addresses there of the machines. And if we go over to Proxmox once more, we should be able to see those machines. So we have here the master, and there we go, there's the IP address, and 3 nodes that we have provisioned. And if I quickly go back to that terminal window, you can in fact see all the remote exec stuff here. So this is where all of the actual key, the public and private key values are required in order to get them to connect. And yeah, that has run successfully. So let me bring back up VS Code and the terminal window, and we'll carry on. Okay, so once you've got those stood up with Terraform, then what you want to do is you want to use Ansible in order to set up the actual Kubernetes nodes. And you could, if you have another environment to use, so this doesn't necessarily have to be done on Proxmox. So if you're doing this in, let's say, VMware, Hyper-V, something like that, or even on physical nodes, then these same actual Ansible playbooks will work. What we have within here is we have the Kubernetes inventory that we've defined. So the master has got the IP address that we've all predefined, and as well as the individual nodes on here. Again, we're going to be specifying the username and password, and we're going to say don't do strict host key checking, but we do need to specify the private key when this is run. So bringing my terminal window back into the foreground, the command that I'm going to need to run, first of all, which applies to all the nodes, is this one, all the nodes and the master, in fact. So the Kubernetes setup playbook, bringing that briefly into focus, that goes through all of the individual steps. So it sets up Docker, it runs various package upgrades, it sets up the key rings, etc., etc. But it is exactly that, and disables the swap memory as well, and then pins the packages. This needs to run on all the nodes and the master. So the inventory will apply it to everything, or rather the playbook will apply it to everything that's in the inventory. And we specified the key file there at the end. In fact, that's not going to work, I've just realized, because I'm in the wrong directory. I need to be in the Ansible directory for that one. And we'll try that again. There we go. So that should start working now. So we'll give that a moment, just check that it's managing to connect successfully, and then we will leave that to run, because part of that is this apt cache upgrade packages, which is going to take some time in our case. So I will once again pause the video and then resume when we get to the end of this step. Okay, so it's taken a little bit of time to run through, but that has now completed the prerequisite stage. So our next stage, if I just remind myself, is that we want to go and do the Kubernetes master configuration, which let me just grab the command for, is this one. So once again, we're running an Ansible playbook. This one is just for the master, and it looks like this. So we do some initialization, and then we create the kube directory and set up the kube config. And then we're going to download the flannel network layer onto the cluster. And then finally, we're going to display the status. So let's run that now. Okay, so you can see here that the Ansible master playbook has run successfully and has created the cluster. And if we then go and, well, what we're going to have to do as we're going to have to basically join the different nodes onto it. To do this, basically what you would do, and I'll put the commands in here, but I'm not going to run them, is on the master node, so we can't actually run these from here directly anyway, is you tell the master to go and create a join token. So you tell it to print the join token out using token create print join command. And then what you do on each of those nodes is you connect into it with the command that it prints out, which looks something like that. And you tell it to join each node on. Now, we're not going to run those directly from this staging machine as they are, because we've actually got a script that's going to do the job for us. And it's going to do something extra at the end, which is to copy off the Kubernetes basically configuration information, which will give us information about the cluster, which means we can then use that configuration to connect directly to it. So let me get the join nodes script on screen. So the key point to this is note that it's actually referencing the tf Cloud-Init command again. And we've got the master node IP address and the worker node IP addresses there. If you want to use host names, you can use host names as well. But you will either have to make sure they resolve on the DNS, or that you have put those into the host file, which is another option. So what this does is it goes and runs the join command and then iterates over the 3 nodes. And then finally it copies the config file back, as I said. So let me get the terminal back on screen so it's a bit easier to see what's going on. And what you do is to come back to the parent level, and then we can just run the join-nodes.sh script, and this should do the job. In fact, it's telling me, oh dear, it's in fact spotted that there is a problem with the known host. So I'm actually going to drop out of that temporarily. And it is, which known host is it? It's because I have run this script and I have repeatedly tested this. And this is quite a nice little bit of troubleshooting. So what we'll do is we'll go into File, Open File. Hang on, what was the command again? Which one is it? So home user SSH known hosts, and it is beginning OOG. Okay, that's fine. So let's go and find that. SSH known hosts. Let's just take out the lot. I'm not sure exactly which one it is, so I'm just going to work on the basis that it doesn't really matter about any of those. And they can always be re-added. There we go. That's adding, and you can in fact see it adding in those successfully. Okay, so you're seeing here what's happening is it is joining the individual nodes into the cluster. Okay, and that has copied out the kube config file, as I said. So there you can see, and in fact you can obviously see the fact that I've recorded this video over a period of hours, and I've basically been able to walk away and let it do its thing. It didn't really take 2.5 hours. I have left this. Well, quite honestly, I've got to make the wife and kids dinner. So it's it does not take 2.5 hours to stand this up. It's probably about half an hour to 40 minutes in total, just in this environment. But anyway, so yeah, that's actually telling us that's all good. So when you've got that up and running, the final thing that I would advise that you probably want to do is that realistically you probably want to go and actually set up a test service of some description. So from the staging machine, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually connect directly to the Kubernetes master at this point. Again, I'm referencing the Cloud-Init private key, and that should get me connected, hopefully. There we go, that's gone through successfully. And there is a additional script here which we're just going to, or rather a YAML file. It's a deployment file essentially for Kubernetes. We're going to copy that, and we're actually just going to, rather than mess around with SSH or SCP copying, we can simply do sudo. I don't even need to do sudo. We can just do nano, and we're going to call it nginx node port test.yaml.yml, and we can paste that content in, and then we can save it, and then we can come out again, and then what we can do is, and this does need sudo, if I could type it correctly, sudo kube control or kubectl apply -f the nginx node port test. And what this will do, so it's created a service, and it's listing the deployment there, and we can then go and get the listing of the pods from this, like so, with get pods -o wide, and that will tell us where it says the primary node is running. In fact, it still says container creating, so we'll wait a moment and just make sure it does come up. So try that again. Great, it's now running. Now we know the IP address, so node port is one way of exposing service to the network, or certainly the network externally to the Kubernetes cluster, because everything is done in such a way that it is not exposed by default. So if we go to 192.168.5.23, oops, was it 232? I think it's actually 233 that we wanted to connect to, but what you're seeing here, I believe, is the way that Kubernetes is working. So we're running on 233. I think this may in fact be replicas of 232, and also may in fact work on 231 as well. So node port has exposed that on the different IP addresses of those different hosts of the different nodes, including the master, and you are able to therefore connect to that as a service. So that's about it, in fact, for this video. I hope this has been of some use. This is a basic Kubernetes cluster that has been stood up on Proxmox using Terraform and Ansible from an Ubuntu VM, and using Cloud-Init as part of that process. So the whole thing's been stitched together. I will make the configuration playbooks and Terraform files available on GitHub, and you should be able to find them in the description for this video. So thanks very much for watching. I hope this has been of use, and please like and subscribe if that's your kind of thing. Otherwise, we'll catch you next time. Thanks very much. Bye now.